Hey, Christy Mattoon here from Rewire. Thank you for being here with me. I look a little bit like a pirate, so I apologize for that. I'm about to actually go out and mow the lawn, but I wanted to jump on here really quick and do this because it's a reoccurring theme that's been coming up with quite a few different people this week. And so I just want to get on and help you understand the difference. Because I think when you understand sometimes and are able to distinguish between some of the words that we use and the way we typically think of things versus a different word and a different way to think of it, it makes a huge difference inside your system and your ability to stay in heart coherence and to use your system, use the ladder of your mind, your gut, your heart, and the universe as a tool instead of being stuck in your subconscious. So what I want to talk about today, we want to distinguish and understand the difference between learning a lesson, which is what a lot of people say we are here to do, is to learn a lesson, versus a correction in the system. See if you can think about that for a second. What is the difference between learning a lesson and simply making a correction to the system? So here's what I have come to understand. Let me make sure I'm not covering up my microphone here. Here's what I have come to understand about this topic. We have been taught that you're here to learn a lesson. I know people who say this all the time. If you get your lesson, you don't have to do this again, whatever it is, whether it's in this lifetime or whatever comes next. If you get the lesson, you get to move on, basically is what it equates to, right? So if you're reoccurring a pattern in this lifetime, if you're noticing something, you're doing it, keeps occurring over and over and over again, and you are working your butt off to learn a lesson, and you just don't get it. What the heck is the lesson? What is the lesson you're supposed to learn? And so you sit there trying to figure out what this lesson is, because if you learn the lesson, you can move on. It's a nice notion, but it doesn't seem to work that way. What would happen if you made a correction to the system in regards to the thing that keeps reoccurring, theoretically, about the lesson you're supposed to learn? What would happen if you made a correction to the system instead of trying to learn a lesson, is what this equates to. Distinguish the difference. Learning a lesson is hard work. We have been taught that, right? If you're going to learn a lesson, it's going to be rough. It's usually not a positive thing. Usually it'll get you somewhere good if you can finally learn the lesson, but it's a struggle to get there. If you make a correction, you can even think about this in regards to like schoolwork. You did a math paper. There was an error somewhere on the math paper. Your teacher threw it back at you, had a red mark on it, and said, correct this. You go sit down and you look at it and you correct it, you give it back to her, and you're off to recess. Simple, boom, done. If you have to learn a lesson and you're really trying to look at this problem like it's some kind of lesson that you have to learn, and you sit there fighting and struggling inside your brain to get over it, to get through it, to get around it, you're going to keep sitting there fighting and struggling inside your brain, trying to get through it, around it, and over it. You just are. That's how we work as humans. What it means to make a correction is to understand what you're going through. Sorry, this is so wiggly. Understand what it is you're going through, right? You've become aware, or you wouldn't be aware you're having this issue. So become aware of what the pattern is, what the thing is that keeps going around and around for you. Become super, super aware of it, and then make a correction. What can I do instead of doing that? And then do the correction. I have always looked at corrections like they're steps, basically. So something happens, I notice it, I become aware of it, I'd make a correction. I do something different to correct the issue that I'm in. And it almost, for me, like I view it like it's a stair step. And then I make that correction, and then I stand up on top of the step. I stand on top of the stair. And then I can see a little bit more. I got more distance. I've got more room to move, right? And then you make another correction. And then you step up on that step. And then you've got more ability to look around you because you're up a little bit higher, right? You make a correction. And it takes away the having to learn the lesson. If I've made a correction, something has changed, I'm not doing this same thing over and over again. I've made a correction to whatever was going on instead of struggling trying to understand and learn this lesson. When we're trying to understand and learn a lesson, there's a lot of whys. There's a lot of question asking. Why? What was that? Why am I going through this? Why does this happen? We start telling ourselves stories about it, about why it could possibly be happening. And then we start trying to live by those stories. And it's not even trying to. You just do because that's what gets caught in your brain. So instead of learning a lesson, make a correction and even start using that language. I'm going to correct this. I'm not going to learn a lesson, and you'll probably learn a lesson through it anyway, just because that's how it happens. But the correction part is way easier than learning the lesson part. Pick something, make a correction, do it again, make a correction.